Okay, hello, and thanks for stopping by the channel and spending some time with us. Today's video is going to be me explaining how the system that we use at my church works with vMix and the ATEM Mini Pro. We use them together because they give us a lot of flexibility. The vMix software on our laptop handles the streaming and the recording and all of the graphics. The ATEM Mini, it basically just controls our cameras and the switching in our cameras, and it also allows us to, I guess there's other ways, but this was the best way we found. It allows us to convert everything easily to SDI so that we can have longer runs on our cables. And you'll see we're not actually using the longer runs right now, but we are set up for some things that we're going to be doing in the future. We were using a longer run, but we ran into some problems with lighting. We can probably in the future get an actual PTZ camera so that we can avoid that problem and set that camera up where we really want it. But for now, the camera is not actually a PTZ. We have a pan and tilt head on there that we can run with a remote control, but we still have to zoom and get wide shot, zoom in and out with manually. So we have to have the camera set up where even though I can pan it and tilt it, I have to be able to zoom in and out, and it has to be in reach. So it put a limit on where we can put it. So enough of me talking, and let's get over to the video after a short intro. All right, have a great day. I hope you have a great new year and had a Merry Christmas. All right, here's the video.
I don't know why. This is
What?
observation concerning the one going in Washington.
Nice, quiet morning. This is our new system. That's where the sound comes in over the speaker wire, because our soundboard is all the way over there. And that's a long way from here. So we have to bring the sound in over the speaker wire, which goes into the mixer here, which goes into the camera here. And let me turn everything on. Let's turn the cameras on. Uh-oh, that's a little loose. We fix that. And then this camera. And now we have all 3 cameras on. And the next thing to do is turn on the computer. Log in. And then double click on vMix. And then it'll bring up all the settings for our church. And that's pretty much it. We use the Black Magic switcher, which that monitor shows. It is, this screen shows what picture we're shooting, what camera is on right now. I have this camera covered up because they show the same thing and it's kind of distracting. So I covered up one, but it's on camera 1. That's why it has the red ring around it. When I move it to camera 2, it will have the red ring around it, and you see it changes up there. Then go to camera 3. Now, one thing to remember is when you come in, you want to set this to auto, because then instead of just cutting when you press the buttons, it has a slow transition and slow fade, and that's what you want. The next thing we need, the only thing, this keyboard here, this little number pad, and I have the 1, 2, 3, the C for cut, and the F for fade, because these are the only 3 keys, the only 5 keys you really need to worry about. They control the vMix software, the cut. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's the other thing. You got to remember to unplug it and plug it back in. Don't know why, but that's a little quirk of using this keypad. But after you do that, it works. Hit the cut button and it changes. We rarely use the cut button because that's just an abrupt change. We normally use the F for fade, and it changes the picture. Now, we don't use this for changing the cameras. This is just for the graphics and things that we have set up. The graphic we use at the beginning of the stream to let people know we're coming soon, is coming on soon. It's not on yet, but you're in the right place, and the stream will be starting soon. And then 1 turns on and off the little channel identifiers. 2 turns on and off the channel identifier for the church. 3 brings in the name of the priest that's up there, either Father McConan, Father Thorne, or Deacon Burton. And that's pretty much it. 4 I use for whatever else we have. And then actually I'll just click on it. Yesterday we had an announcement about who the person was doing the music, and we had that scrolling across. I don't know if this camera's picking it up, but that scrolls across. And when, oh no, that's the wrong one. And it is the announcement, whatever it is, will scroll across. But I don't have that programmed into one of these keys because 4 I just use for whatever else we need to put up there. And then if you just click on 4 on the thing, that means overlay number 4. So it will just come up as an overlay. And that's pretty much it, except after church starts, I usually queue up the SMDP out on this side, because that's what you'll have to switch to at the end of church. When the software comes up, the SMDP open or just open is automatically up there. and that's the first thing you'll play when the stream starts. And then later on, after church starts, sometime during the service, you switch to the SMDP out up there. So at the end of service, you'll hit that when we're going out. And the only time, then basically you don't have to cut or fade anything from here during service. All that's done from the Blackmagic that controls the cameras. So you just leave the camera up here and you control the camera angles from the Blackmagic. The software only puts out the priest's name that's speaking, any graphics that we need, it puts that up. And it also is what is running the stream. To start the stream, you hit the S, and to start recording, you hit F11 and F9 for streaming. And I put a little label, a S for streaming, R for recording, so it'll be easier to see, because I always have to look over and make sure I'm pressing the right one. And then at the end of master stop, just to the right, F10 and F12. I didn't put a thing on there because that's easier to remember. Just go to the right and click the other one. So S is for streaming, R is for recording, and that's pretty much it, unless we have something special going on, and then we'll have to learn that, or you'll have to learn that as we go along. Do not ever close the lid, because we have a bar across here. We have screws in the back, so this laptop, nobody can come up here and just walk away with it. So you can't close the lid anymore, which is not a problem because we don't really need to close the lid. So that's the system. All of the cameras are close enough together so that if you have to change any of the angles, you do that by hand with these two cameras. This camera, you only change the zoom in and out from the camera, but the controller for controlling where it goes, you press the button, and that is what controls. That's on the remote control. So do not move that camera by hand. You can zoom in and out by hand, but don't move the camera itself by hand. That is all done with the remote control, which is always hanging right here off the wall. I didn't attach it because it didn't need to be attached to anything, because sometimes I'll move it from over here, and sometimes I'll be standing over here looking at this monitor and zooming in and out, and I can still change the angle, move it back and forth while I'm standing over here. So that's why it's just hanging on the wall, and you'll be able to do the same thing. So this actually, the mixer actually controls the volume, and you can see, because we're coming off of speaker wire or speaker sound, it doesn't have to be that high. If you turn it up too high, you will destroy the cameras. This box here is an attenuator. It actually reduces the sound low enough, so really you're not going to destroy the cameras, because this box will keep it. But we had to use the attenuator to reduce the power coming out of the speaker wires, because that's pumping enough juice through there to run the speakers, and the microphone signal is not that high. We had to learn that the hard way. I'm lucky I didn't destroy one of my cameras before I found that out. I found that out when I listened to the sound, and we were unable to use the video. That was a concert we recorded, and we couldn't use it because the sound was just terrible. And I'm lucky I didn't destroy my my amps in the camera. But that's one more very important thing. You have to, on camera 2, because our sound goes in through the camera, and we do it that way instead of, you can actually put sound into the back of the ATEM, but we don't do it that way because, and you can actually put the sound in through the computer, but we don't do it that way because the sound will get out of sync with the video. So we bring it in through the camera, and then the camera keeps the sound in sync with the video, and then it sends both signals out to the ATEM, so everything stays in sync. And because all of these cameras are from the same manufacturer, and actually they're pretty much the same, based on the same model. These two are the exact same model. That one is the 1080 version of these. So basically they're all the same model, just a couple of different years. And so anyway, the sync, they run the same. If we use different cameras, how it syncs the sound and the picture might be different, and it won't necessarily stay in sync with these cameras. So since they're all the same brand, we can run it through the one camera, and no matter what camera we switch it to, it will stay in sync because the timing of the audio and video is the same on all the cameras. So it won't necessarily be the same if we bring another camera into the mix, which eventually we're going to do, but we can take the sound straight off of that camera. Like if we're going outside, we wouldn't have the sound coming in from out here anyway. We need the sound coming from that camera, and then when we get in, we'll switch to these cameras. But that's for the future, and that's why it really doesn't matter what camera we use when we're able to start doing the stuff outside, because we won't be using any of these cameras. We won't have to worry about timing. The reason we have to worry about timing of these is because they're all taking pictures of the same thing, and we're all in here. So it will look kind of crazy if we switch from one scene to another scene and the stuff was off. But going in and out of that building is different. So, I almost forgot. You got to turn on the sound for camera 2, because that was the discussion we just had. That's where our sound is coming in from. That wire comes up and it's hooked on here and comes around and goes into this camera, and then everything comes down to here. We use that's a little more than we need to explain, but we use SDI converters. These are all HDMI cameras. The HDMI signal goes into the SDI. Well, each camera has a converter. The HDMI signal goes into the SDI signal, and the SDI signal comes up to here and gets converted back to HDMI. The reason we go through the trouble of doing that is because HDMI signals are only good for 15 feet. That will tell you, if you look it up, they're good for much longer distances, up to 50 feet. But practically and in real life, when you're doing this kind of stuff, they're not reliable past 15 feet. And that comes from experience of buying 3 or 4 times. I bought better, what I thought were better and better cables, trying to solve my problem, and it didn't work. And then I finally found somebody who actually said that what I just said. They will tell you up to 50 feet, but practically they only work up to 15 feet. So it doesn't, as close as our cameras are now, it really doesn't make a difference. But our plan was to have one of the cameras way over there and one of the cameras way over there, but because of the way the lighting is in here, those chandeliers hanging from, we became a lot more limited in where we can put the cameras. And actually, I had two cameras here for a while, and that was mostly because I was the only one controlling them. This camera was originally over there. You already know that, but we had the problem with the lighting, and that's why the cord for this is so long. It will reach over there, but that's more than 15 feet. And then for the other stuff that we want to do with the camera down in the audience or being able to take a camera outside, we needed to go more than 15 feet. And we have a cable that can go up to 215 feet right now. So we're good. And actually you can go up to 300 feet. And our run will be about 265 feet because we need another 50 feet just to get downstairs and then add it on to that cable. So that is the system.